Ragyo Kiryuin returns to Honoji Academy and gets a big surprise in my review of Kill La Kill episode 17. Oh my god, guys! This episode, the ending on this week's episode, holy crap, I cannot contain my fanboyism this week, guys. Every episode of this freaking series leaves your jaw on the damn floor, going down into the core of the freaking earth with how ridiculous they always end these episodes, guys. Freaking the twist this week. Oh, and by the way, massive ass spoilers. Ragyo Kiryuin is coming to Honoji Academy, and basically she's getting ready to do this whole cultural festival where she's gonna draw everybody in and have them be devoured by clothing so that she can take over the world with the power of life fibers. Fuck all that shit. Satsuki stabbed her mother from behind with her freaking massive ass sword, sent her flying and impaled her on these massive spikes. Twist out of hell. Holy crap. And it was so well animated, and the build-up to it was astronomical. I cannot contain my excitement for that last couple minutes of this week's episode. But the entire episode was actually really good too. There was an assload of comedy from Mako and her family. I love the scene when they were talking to Gamagori and they were animated in a much more realistic style to make them seem, I guess, a little more intimidating. And when they actually do change back, that's when you realize they really are probably the most cartoony looking characters in this entire show, and that's saying a lot. But another thing that I really liked about this episode was the entrance that Ragyo Kiryuin made, which was hilariously ridiculous and over the top. Every single time she appears, there's always like a massive blinding light. But this time she appeared looking like a friggin' clown, and she just had this crazy outfit on, and she just like came in over this stadium like a freaking giant. It was pretty damn funny. But some other really important details about this week's episode is we get to learn a little bit more about Tsumugu. He's a very mysterious character. He doesn't really talk too much about his past. And we learned this week that apparently that person who was lost in that experiment where the life fibers ripped that girl apart, that was Tsumugu's sister, and she was in the experiment who was helping out Dr. Matoy and everything, and apparently her dying words were to continue on with the experiments, and that's why Tsumugu is sort of reluctantly putting up with Ryuko and all of her crap. But still, that's just a really nice development for his character, and everything just starts to seem really dark and intimidating towards the end, especially when they talk about everybody's going to be devoured and everything, and it looks like it's actually going to happen. However, that twist at the end, that's really what is going to define this episode, like, forever for me. And I really love that, because I wanted Satsuki to eventually go up against her mother. It's been hinted at that she definitely has something of an odd relationship with her. See last week's episode, you'll know what I mean. But this is sort of showing why she put up with all that shit, because she was just planning on trying to kill her anyway. And it's pretty obvious that even though Ragyo was actually stabbed by this massive sword and impaled on a giant spike, she's probably still going to live, and that has something to do with the life fibers. You can see their eyes are actually glowing red. However, the scene is still really awesome. It's extremely bloody, especially the scene where you see like all the blood like showering down on Satsuki, and then you get to actually see Ragyo like spitting it up and everything. It's very intense, and probably one of the craziest scenes of the entire series, and again, that's saying quite a bit. But I love it because it seems like everybody is in on it with Satsuki. Like the whole Honoji Academy thing was like actually a plan to go up against Ragyo. It was like sort of like her big go-to plan for this. And this is where I see possibly Satsuki and Ryuko having to team up against Ragyo. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. They're still going to have sort of that like that Naruto Sasuke kind of rival thing going on. But otherwise, that's really it this week. Just god dang, man, what a great episode. I literally just got done watching it, so I'm like jacked up just after watching that scene. It was just so incredibly intense. So even though this episode was anchored by a really badass scene, the rest of the episode still holds up on its own. It still had all of those classic moments, Mako moments, which were funny, her family, all of the stuff with Nudist Beach. All of the music moments, again, are also really incredible. Every single time Ragyo's theme comes up, though, I'm always a little creeped out now, but that's mostly because of the last episode. But otherwise, another incredible episode of Kill La Kill that is definitely worth your time. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 because I friggin' loved it, and this episode sort of solidified its place in my top 5 favorite anime of all time. It's sort of inching its way into my top 3, and that's a really big accomplishment. I love every single thing about this series, and I just cannot wait to see the rest of it. So if you guys had a chance to check out this week's episode of Kill La Kill, it's time to let me know what you thought about it with your comments below. You can tell me about your favorite moments, and were you shocked by that massive twist at the end of this week's episode? Remember guys, before you leave, make sure and hit that like button. It is definitely one of the easiest ways to help out our videos. And remember guys, you can subscribe if you haven't already. So, I'll see you next time. Super Kami Guru 9000. Wait! Make sure to also check out my top 10 Kalos Pokemon video. I'll put a link to that in the description box below. Check it out if you want to hear what my favorite Pokemon were for Pokemon X and Y. End of sales pitch. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.